Thank you for joining us for our complimentary gathering where we talk about, I don't know, a current event in the divorce world, and then we take opportunities to answer some common questions that we've received throughout the week. You might notice that our assistant, Karen Hansel, is not with us today. She is on vacation. And so today it is just myself, Erin Birt. I'm the attorney and mediator here at Birt Law. And I'm joined by my paralegal.
And I'm Tyler Birt, a paralegal and office manager at the firm.
So welcome, everybody. Before we started, Tyler and I were just talking a little bit about some divorce topics that were in the news. And one thing that stuck out to me that I thought was really interesting was how two, famous people were in the news recently. They had their pictures taken together, and it kind of caused, a flutter of comments about the status of their relationship. And I'm talking about Robin Wright and Sean Penn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They had a fairly long marriage. They have 2 children. They have gone on to marry other people. And at this point in their lives, they're both divorced. And they were seen recently together at, I believe, an airport. And then they were seen together at a car, presumably getting into the car together and going somewhere. And it caused a lot of activity on social media with speculation about their relationship. And I just found it really interesting because here we have 2 co-parents now, albeit their children are adults now, but we have 2 co-parents that are together that, are doing what us regular people tend to do, go places and travel. And for whatever reason, they had comments about the status of their relationship. Are they getting back together? What does this mean? Is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea? And I just felt that it was really unfortunate that they got some of the speculations and negative comments that they got.
Well, and I think that, everybody hears about it because they're famous people. But, in our world, co-parents and parents who have separated that have, children and adult children, they can be seen together. And, the same type of stuff can be said, albeit not on a, worldwide basis, but, people talk in towns and stuff. And so it's just part of being a co-parent.
And, Robin Wright was just, I think she was either being interviewed by somebody, but she came out recently and said, look, those pictures are a result of us spending time together supporting our child at an event or traveling to see our child. And to me, the takeaway of that was your co-parenting relationship outlives your children being minors.
Yeah.
Your divorce affects your young children. It can affect adult children, and how you choose to co-parent and continue to have a relationship and support your children ultimately affects your kids. And for Robin Wright to come out and say, look, these pictures are a result of us co-parenting our adult children. We were both going to an event for a child. And I thought that was great. I think that, again, it's an illustration that your relationship, you might end your relationship through divorce, but your co-parenting relationship goes on and on and on. And you have a choice. You can either have a negative co-parenting relationship, or you can have a co-parenting relationship where you're putting your kids first, whether they're young or adults.
Yeah, and I think it's an active choice. And the results of your choice, affects children when they're young, and it affects them when they're old. Kids don't forget.
Kids don't forget. They absorb everything like a sponge. They see how you problem solve. They see how you cope with challenges. and they might not even realize it, but they are going to probably react in a very similar fashion. And so it is a choice. It's a choice every day to co-parent in a way that you might not feel is the way you want to co-parent that day, but it's a active choice to show your children a positive relationship with your co-parent. And I'm not minimizing certain stressors that occur between co-parents. There might have been arguments or violence or things of that nature. And I'm not trying to minimize that, but there are ways to deal with that as an adult and then make choices about how you either communicate about that past relationship or how you show your child to have a continuing relationship with that other parent. And so it's definitely not easy, but it was interesting to see in the news that people were so focused on, oh, they shouldn't be together, or this is not the right decision. But they're co-parents and they're doing something wonderful for their adult children. So my takeaway was that they're putting their differences aside and they're doing the right thing for their kids.
Yeah, I agree with it.
There's a resource on our website that can help parents remind themselves daily of how to positively co-parent. And again, we recognize you might wake up and not want to be a positive co-parent that day because of life circumstances. But we have a resource on our website called a co-parenting declaration, and it's based on the Illinois statute that outlines the best interests of a child. And they're affirmative statements of how to positively co-parent in Illinois. And again, you might not feel that way, but those are your emotions. Our actions can speak louder. And if you say these declarations or just focus on them for a few minutes a day, it's our hope that you can illustrate a positive co-parenting relationship to your children. So check out our website at 𝗱𝗏.com. Under the custody section, there will be a co-parenting declaration page, and you can download a free co-parenting declaration and post that somewhere that it just reminds you of how you can be the best co-parent you can be.
That's good.
So Tyler, why don't we take some questions from some potential clients and clients that have come in through the week, and hopefully I can answer those questions and provide our listeners with some tips as they're contemplating how best to move forward.
Sure. Well, we have two questions, this week for you. And the first question is, how much will a divorce cost?
That is probably the most popular question that we either get through the initial contact by phone, through email, through our contact form on our website, and especially at maybe that first planning session that we have. And I will tell you that it's a very difficult question to answer because there are so many things that influence the divorce process. And there are so many issues that are intertwined in your divorce that perhaps one delay in one area of your divorce will then cause delays in other areas of your divorce. For instance, just financial documents, getting maybe your tax returns from your accountant, or getting, the last couple of years of financial documents from your bank might take a while. And in your particular family, knowing all of the finances, knowing the income is a big stressor, but it's also going to then influence your parental decision-making responsibilities and activities for your kids. So there are many delays that could unfortunately happen in your divorce, and any delay or any complexity might make your divorce process longer, which then unfortunately translates into maybe a more expensive process. What I can do to help people understand how much it will cost for a divorce is I can give you an estimate, but it's a range. And it all depends on whether you are prepared whether you are able to take recommendations from the attorney that you're working with or the firm that you're working with, act on those recommendations, gather all of your information. It depends on health-related issues, emotional issues, and just life circumstances. And when you try to consider all of those things without knowing somebody's personal or family history, it's really hard to come up with a number. What we do try to do is give you an honest assessment and estimate based on our experience working with divorcing couples. And online at birtlaw.com, we actually have an estimate for a divorce service. We have an estimate for mediation services, and we actually have an estimate for collaborative divorce services. And those are all posted online. You can go to our website, look under the appropriate service tab, and you will see a PDF that you can download, and that's your estimate for your case. It's also going to give you a roadmap about all of the things that could happen in your divorce process. And it gives you a range of time that will need to be spent on a particular stage of your divorce. And so if there are minimal issues and minimal complexities, you might be at the lower end of those estimates that you will see. If there are more issues, more complexities, more assets, more just circumstances that need a higher one-on-one analysis, you might be at the higher end of those estimates. But we always will give our potential clients and clients an estimate of their services. I think all attorneys should do that. It educates you about what goes into the divorce process so that you can know what the expectation is. And it also allows you to budget.
Right.
So that's the best answer I can give you at this time. There are many factors that influence your case, but those estimates on our website are going to really tell you how the case is run, what all goes into your case, and then a range of time spent on those particular issues.
Right. Well, I think that's very useful and helpful for everybody. So thank you for that. The second question, and if I could, these is kind of come in different ways of this question, but so I'll just try and paraphrase it for you best I can here. But the couple is thinking about a trial separation, and during that trial separation, even remaining in the home together, in the home they live in together, what are the consequences of, separating but living together?
And what it sounds like to me, Tyler, is that perhaps this might be what I call an informal separation. If I get a call and somebody's saying, we've either been separated or we're thinking of a trial separation, I typically interpret that as an informal separation. And what that means is you haven't filed anything, or you're not seeking to file any type of legal document with the court to grant you a legal separation. And so some of the consequences of having an informal separation, some of the consequences are your assets continue to accumulate and most likely be deemed marital assets. So however long you want to have this trial separation, just know your financial circumstances that, are such that your assets are accruing, and those are still all subject to division and allocation in your divorce process. The other consequence of perhaps trying a trial separation, to me, it's a red flag, or if you will, for lack of a better term, but it's a sign that perhaps somebody is ambivalent or on the fence about getting a divorce, and they're just exploring their options. And there are resources out there available if you are going through this trial separation to see, should we stay together? Should we reconcile? Should we actually divorce? And what does that look like? Our office can help you assess your readiness for divorce. And we can also provide you with trusted referrals to professionals that can also help you assess your readiness for divorce. And those professionals are called discernment counselors. They help you determine and find clarity about the status of your relationship.
Mhm.
They're not there to diagnose any mental health issues. They're not there to help you work on and resolve any particular issues within your marriage. They're helping you to discern and determine, are you staying in this marriage? Are you going to try couples therapy for 6 months? Or are you both prepared for starting the divorce process? So there's typically 3 options that a discernment counselor will explore with you. And a discernment counselor will ask you to at least meet one time. And then you decide at the end of every discernment counseling session if you will return. And so typically a discernment counselor will work with you anywhere between 1 and 5 sessions. And the outcome of that discernment counseling session could be that you reconcile and you decide that you're staying married and you've worked on the best way to move forward. It could be that you're committed to 6 months of marital counseling and the appropriate referrals will be made to a qualified marriage counselor. And one of the reasons why it's 6 months is because it's not forever. It is not overwhelming. It is actually a commitment to 6 months to see, can we work on our differences? And everybody should be invested during that time. Or are you both prepared to divorce? And what will that look like for you? And our firm can help you with 2 of those scenarios. If you are going to reconcile and just move forward, you might be interested in what's called a post-nuptial agreement. And what that is you're staying married, but you are developing an agreement about how your assets may be treated, financial support for one another, and you're both on that same page with expectations of what will happen financially speaking if, unfortunately, the marriage down the road were to end. But it really helps you get on the same page with expectations. The other scenario is if you do choose to divorce, the discernment counselor will usually refer you to a discernment trained lawyer. And I am a discernment trained lawyer. And I will help you with what's called an uncontested divorce. So again, more information is available on our website about what an uncontested divorce is. But I can tell you, when both parties understand that that is the next step and they've accepted that, your divorce process goes much smoother. It is not as acrimonious. There should not be litigation involved because you are both saying you're ready for the divorce process, you're accepting of it, and then we just work on the paperwork for an uncontested divorce. So there's a few repercussions to having a trial separation, but we can guide you through that, and we can also provide you with other resources to help you determine what your next steps are.
That's great.
Well, thank you so much. I think we're out of time for today. If you have any questions at all that you would like us to address at the complimentary gathering meetings, please call us, email us, contact us through birtlaw.com, and we will address those at future meetings. If you'd like to attend, just RSVP through our website or giving us a call, and we'll give you the details for how best to attend and to keep your information private. But thanks for joining us, and have a good week.
Thanks.